All right, Mr. Lane, thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. Just have a couple questions about community engagement. That's what we're going over in our schoolwork right now. So, as of right now, who are our current community partners?
Our biggest and most visible one is probably Northside Hospital. They have a partnership with all the Gwinnett County Public Schools, providing trainers, so that's a huge partner with us. We have several churches that we partner with here in the community where we swap services. We support the pantry at Hamilton United Methodist Church. We have a partnership with Victory World Church and also 12 Stone Church. Then a lot of vendors where that relationship from the community is, whether it's Coke or photography companies, that kind of stuff. But our big ones are the churches and the Northside Hospital.
And so you mentioned a little bit on some of those, and it kind of adds to this question here is like, what do they provide? So with Northside Hospital, could you expand on what they provide for us?
Yeah, so they give us specifically in every high school in Gwinnett, they provide 2 certified athletic trainers at no cost. And obviously within that piece of it, what we do for them, which is in the memorandum of understanding with Gwinnett County, is an advertising piece. So we don't have advertising for competing hospitals or competing doctors and stuff on our campus. But outside of that, it's really taking care of our students and staff. If a staff member gets hurt here, I can pick up the phone and call our team doctor, and they'll get that staff member in right away. Same thing for a student. So it's a big public safety thing.
And so I guess on the other side of it, like, what does our school district do for the community partners?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a visibility piece. There's no financial piece that I know of with like Northside Hospital's agreement. I've seen the old agreement. There was no financial piece in it within that, but obviously they're getting exclusive rights and access to hundreds, if not thousands, of athletes in every single campus. So for that instance, if you're an athlete here and you get hurt, our trainers are provided by Northside. You can go to anybody you want to as a doctor, but there's a good chance you're probably going to go to a Northside facility because the trainers are going to talk to those doctors, and then we can call the doctor and get you in immediately on that piece of it. So from their standpoint, they're not getting any financial piece back specifically, but they're getting access to our students, access to our schools, and a visibility piece of signage around all the high schools in Gwinnett County, which is a big visibility piece for them.
What other partnerships should our school or district be considering?
Yeah, I think a great example of what we're doing already with Hamilton United Methodist Church, where we support their food pantry. And that food pantry in turn serves over 700 families every single week in our community. And that's just something that we do, trying to make our community a better place. I think that as a school system, we should look for those partnerships where you're helping an organization give back to our own community on that piece of it. I think when you look at 12 Stone, one of their guiding principles is about leadership. And so a lot of the stuff that we do here at Mill Creek is surrounded by leadership. 12 Stone supports us by letting us use their facilities. If I ask them to come and speak at an event, they come and speak. And they come and speak not about religion or God or anything, but they will talk about leadership. They do a lot of leadership training with their adults too. So I think if we can look at what the needs are of our schools and of our communities, there are a lot of resources out there that all they want is really to give. They don't want anything in return. 12 Stone never asks us for anything. They just say, yeah, you can use our facility. Yeah, we'll come and talk to you. Yeah. Can I, and they'll even ask, like, can we come and give free cookies out at a basketball game? I'm like, you want to do what? And he said, oh, I'm going to give a check to the booster club so they don't think we're taking any money from the booster club. Those are the kind of partnerships where, like, it's a win-win for us. It doesn't cost us anything, and they're giving back. And then when we want to use our facility, we can do that. So I think every high school can find components like that in their communities.
All right, last question.
Yep.
Would be, what would need to be done to make current and future partnerships more equitable or more equal?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think that Gwinnett County has done a decent job of that with Northside Hospital. Prior to us being a Northside Hospital school, we were a North Georgia hospital school. And I had offers from every hospital because they all wanted to be here. And selfishly, I wanted to be with different people other than Northside because I could have got a third trainer. They were we'll give you money to support this program or this program, that kind of stuff. But from the equity standpoint, and this is something I had to learn as a principal too, by going with Northside, I'm giving back to making sure that schools that don't have as much, and I can name those schools, Title I schools that don't have the resources that we have, those schools get the same thing that we get. So I think Gwinnett has looked at that as a whole from an equity standpoint to make sure we're all on the same page. I'm not sure, and this is just me, Nathan, I'm not sure that we want as an organization to get into like, hey, we're going to negotiate a contract for all vending for all schools so you all get the same thing, because every school is different. I've worked in schools like that, and not that it was bad, but then when you get no service, you can't go with anybody on that piece of it. So I do think there's a give and take on that piece. I think the equity and services and access for like healthcare and that kind of stuff is awesome. I also like the fact that Gwinnett says, hey, Jason, if you want to be a Pepsi school, you negotiate your own Pepsi contract. I send the contract to the county, they make sure that it's a good contract. They won't let me like sign it if it's awful. So I think there are some resources in place that help with equity. I think there's some resources in place that principals can go to, even if they're negotiating their own contracts, to make sure that, hey, this is in line with what other schools are getting as well. But I think it's also okay to be a little bit different, because our community doesn't have the same needs that a Meadow Creek has.
Right.
And so I think the basic overall pieces of education, safety, healthcare is there, but then we're able to differentiate based upon the needs of our community. This vendor works better for my community, and here's why, and the county lets us do that piece of it.